Hi, I'm Tricia Morris from Club Scrap, and welcome to the show. It seemed like a long time ago everybody scrapbooked in that 8.5 by 11 format, but since then we've all switched over to that 12 by 12. It's by far the most popular. But today we're going to take a new twist on an old favorite by turning things around a bit. One of the most challenging things to do can be making a gift album for somebody when you don't have any pictures to put into it. Well, today's project, we're going to be making an 11 by 8.5 gift album completely ready for photos. Today's theme happens to be a Boy Scout theme, and this will be the perfect album to give to a very special person in your son's life, a Boy Scout troop leader. The album that we're going to make will be a horizontal album using 8.5 by 11 pages. But what I have here, the products that I'm starting with, are 12 by 12 papers. But of course, you know me by now, I have a great page formula that I can't wait to show you. Let's start out with taking one of our 12 by 12 pieces of paper over to the trimmer, and we're just going to make a couple of simple cuts. The first cut will be at 8.5 inches because we're going to start to create the foundation of our page. Now it's 8.5 inches wide. Let's rotate that paper and trim at 11. So right here we have the foundation of our layout, an 8.5 by 11 page. Now from the pieces that remain, we're going to save these. This longer piece will be placed horizontally into the trimmer, and we'll make a couple of cuts. The first one at 10 inches and the second one at 5 inches. Okay, that's all the cutting that we need to do. And let me just show you how that is all laid out here. Just to review, we've got our page. This piece will be the foundation of our layout. This piece will be a scrap that we're going to use. We'll have two 3.5 by 5 inch photo mats, and we'll even find a home for this little guy. All right, you will do that with 2 pieces of paper because it's going to be a double page spread. Now, I've also selected some printed paper. This is from It Takes Two's licensed Boy Scouts of America paper collection. And the papers actually start out at Tiger Cub and graduate all the way on up to Bobcats, Wolf, Bear, Webelos, all the way on up to the Eagle Scout. Now with these printed papers, in studying them, I realized that they all sort of fall into the same template. So on Eagle Scout, I have this large printed potential page title right here, and I've got all these other elements that are consistent from page to page in the entire collection. So what we're focusing on right now is the Tiger Cub page. And when I planned this entire album, I actually went ahead and selected plain papers to coordinate with each one of the papers from the collection. Of course, I have to apply some clever cutting. I'm just going to go ahead and show you how I made this paper into some smaller pieces that will be implemented into the page. Now I want to point out this is definitely a printed page, a lot going on here, and I didn't want that to be hidden into the background, but I wanted it to be incorporated into the foreground. So you can see how I've pieced this all together. My Tiger Cub print here is now going to pop its way up into the foreground of my layout just by cutting it into some pieces. My title here, some foundational pieces here, and actually some scraps that I'll even be using later on. Now let me show you how this page is going to be assembled. Now these 8.5 by 11s are going to be the foundation for my layout, and remember they're horizontal, not vertical, but if you work with it you can rotate it as well. These formulas will work the same. I'm going to begin with those larger pieces that I cut from the 12 by 12 Tiger Cub print. This one will be attached at the top of the bottom page, and this one will go right about here. And then I have these narrow border strips. Now you might have thrown these away, but these are going to be perfect for just adding a little bit of a color anchor to the outer sides of our pages. And then, remember from the print, we trimmed the title. Here's the Tiger Cub page title. These are the little scraps. Don't throw those away. We are going to use them. Finally, we have some photo mats that we can add to our page. And with this paper used as a contrasting backdrop, we can position those photo mats anywhere we like. I thought it would be nice to include the badge from the Tiger Cubs here, and because I happen to have these other smaller pieces, I can mat the sticker of the Tiger Cub onto that contrasting blue paper and attach it to my page as a title. Now let me show you how great this page came together. Now I've gone ahead and added some ink to the edges of the photo mats and warmed up the edges of the papers a little bit. It only takes a couple of seconds to do that, but it really adds a lot of warmth to the page. But this layout came out beautifully. Now once I did the preliminary design work for this page, all I needed to do was duplicate it with the remaining papers in the Scouting collection. Now these pages may be the same construction-wise, but appearance-wise they look entirely different from one to another. And here we're moving on to Webelos, climbing the ladder of Scouting, and finally the Eagle Scout. So this page really rounds up the set of pages beautifully. Now I wanted to put these pages into something that had a nice masculine, durable feel to it, and I've chosen Club Scrap's tan genuine leather album here, and this is going to be a nice presentation when all the pages are inside, a beautiful gift that can be used from year to year to track the progress of the group. Now, I did promise that I would show you some great ways to use the scraps that remain from this whole project, so let me show you how I did that. All right, now remember that cutting formula that I showed you earlier to transform a 12 by 12 into an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper? Let me just show that to you one more time. Here we have that 8.5 by 11 with our little strip on the side, the wide one that we turned into photo mats earlier. I've made the same cuts. It's common knowledge you can take an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, cut it in half this way, fold those two pieces in half, and what do you have? Two standard size greeting cards. Now, almost everybody involved in doing anything needs some greeting cards, so wouldn't it be great to hand off a set of greeting cards to your troop leader? Now here I have a series of 4 folding greeting cards that I made, and remember I pointed out we had the scrap. Right here we've got that tiger cub piece left over from our page, and then what you can do is take the scraps from creating the 8.5 by 11 and you can mat that tiger cub piece. You can go ahead and add the rank sticker again, and there you will have an entire set of beautiful greeting cards. Let me show you how great these came out. And you'll notice each one follows along with that same pattern formula that I explained earlier. There's our tiger cub all finished, and it just comes together as a nice complete set. Now there is one last thing that I would like to show you that can really make an excellent and very special gift. Remember these guys? These retro sort of blend composition books? Well, what I've done with some more of the paper from that Boy Scout collection is I've covered the composition book using some of the bookbinding techniques that I have showed in the lounge before, and I've wrapped this composition book cover in some of the Boy Scout paper, and then of course coordinated it with some plain paper along the spine, and then I've added the Stronaling sticker here to finish it off. Now just to prove a point, when I did this entire project, I saved all of my scraps, and they all fit into this little tiny bag. This is all that's left from the entire project, so you can call me the frugal scrapper. Now you might be saying to yourself that you don't have a Boy Scout troop leader to give a gift to. Well, that's okay. We all have people we need to give something special to, like maybe a Sunday school teacher or a pastor. I've done the same exact formulas to make some beautiful greeting cards, and of course the wrapped composition book. In fact, I want to point out that my 10-year-old daughter happened to make this all by herself. She did a beautiful job. And here's one that I made. Beautiful composition book, and I even made a beaded bookmark for the book. This will be a really nice treasure. And then, of course, here we have another leather album, and inside, I just want to show you again how I used that 8.5 by 11 template, starting with a 12 by 12 page. There are my anchor strips, my printed paper, and my photo mats, all to complete this gorgeous album. Again, all you need to do is add your pictures. Now you can put all these gift albums together quickly and hand them off with pride, and all the recipient needs to do is just add photos. Now I've got a lot of gifts to make, so I'm going to get started, and I'll see you next time.
For step-by-step instructions on how to create this week's project, download the design guide featuring special make-it-your-own bonus tips.